Welcome to Farm Your Daily, a Field Forward podcast. I'm your host, David Geiger. Today on Farm Your Daily, in a season of helping one another, we chat with Brian Waddingham of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers about the work they do and opportunities they have to elevate farmers. Please be sure to like and follow the podcast as well as our social media at Field Forward Pod. We would love to have you join our community, keeping folks informed about what is affecting our farmers. This is Farm Your Daily. And joining me on Farm Your Daily, we're going to take a look at some of the holiday spirit going on, and that is helping folks out. And one of the groups that helps farmers out in the state of Iowa is the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, and its executive director, Brian Waddingham, is with us right now. Brian, thank you so much for joining us on Farm Your Daily, and hope you guys are having a good time heading into the holiday season. Tell us, what is the Coalition all about, just as we get started in this conversation?
Yeah, David, glad to be on with you today. So the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, we're going into or finishing up actually year 21 of existence. We've worked with more than 5,500 livestock farmers, predominantly to site new barns, feedlots, interpret the more than 250 pages of rules and regulations that impact farmers, as well as enhance neighbor relations, and then implement best management practices like planting trees and windbreaks on farms.
And as a part of that, I'm sensing that helping the farmer also is consistent with being a part of the community of farming. So how does that get involved, especially during a time when folks are thinking about their neighbors and their family?
Well, one way I think it's a natural fit is our Good Farm Neighbor Award. We try to get out and recognize 12 families that raise livestock every single year. Parameters: they have to have livestock, they have to be good stewards of their land and their livestock, and then be active in that community in which they live. We've sponsored that award for 21 years and have so far awarded 202 families with that prestigious honor. And we're always looking for more great farm families that go above and beyond. So you can go to our website, supportfarmers.com, and you can nominate your neighbor today.
It is a really good program, and I'm glad you brought that up, because that is one of those situations where folks are noticing those who are good practitioners of what it means to be a farmer. And, just to follow up with that experience of the Good Farm Neighbor Award, and I know you work with the folks over there at WHO Radio quite frequently and do stuff with them, as well as, partnering with many of the different local groups as you do that. It really is something where the community comes together and talks about what it means to be a farmer.
Yeah, it's a great way. I mean, typically at least 100, neighbors, friends, family members show up at these events. We've had as many as 400 people show up to support those local farmers in those communities. And I think that just really goes to show how involved farmers are. Whether it's sitting on the church board or school board or coaching Little League, they're always giving their time and energy and a lot of times monetary investments to keep that community in which they live going. So we're just so honored to be able to recognize those hardworking families all across the state of Iowa for going above and beyond and being a good neighbor and a good steward of their land and livestock. It's really a great way to bring some positive publicity to rural Iowa.
Returning to the spirit of the season of helping folks out and being a part of the community in that way, do you have any stories that really have specifically impacted you over the last 20 years of being a part of? It could be beyond just the Good Farm Neighbor Award, just a moment where being a farmer and participating in the agriculture community really touched you from a perspective of generosity or from a perspective of a helping hand.
Oh boy, that's a good question, David. I think, and it's happened several times over the course of the last few years. I've been at the Coalition now for 15 years, just as of last week. But it's really, I don't know, exciting, or maybe it's a real feel good. I've been out on farm lately and have worked with the sons and daughters of farmers that I had worked with originally, maybe back in 2010, 2011, when I first started here. So to kind of see that full circle moment, knowing I helped the previous generation, and now I'm helping the current generation find their fit onto that family farm. It just really makes me feel good, and makes me feel like I'm really contributing to the success of somebody else. And maybe without my help, they wouldn't have been able to do what it is they want to do and meet all their farm and family goals. So that's talk about the season and time to give, and that's just really what makes me happy is helping other people.
As a follow up to that question, then, let's go over some of the impacts you've seen then in terms of what progress we've seen in terms of helping those family farms and especially in the livestock operation, because there's been a lot of innovation going on, a lot of new technology that has helped folks be better neighbors and better stewards of their land. What's some of the really interesting progress you've seen over the last couple of years, or it could even just be looking at 2025?
Over the last several years, just the increase in placing cattle under roof. I think you talk about technology. Maybe you wouldn't consider that technology, but getting them out of the elements, putting them under roof, doing a better job monitoring their feed intake, herd health, less of environmental footprint. I mean, a lot of things all go into putting cattle under roof. We've seen a big uptick in putting cows under roof and calving under roof as well. So on the cattle side, it would be more buildings, and I think something else that's really innovative is shrimp farming, and that's something that's been
Okay.
around now for 15 or so years, and it kind of ebbs and flows. But I really think that we're on the uptick now, and we are going to have a viable shrimping industry in the state of Iowa, where you're going to be able to go into your local grocery store and purchase shrimp raised right here in Iowa. And I think that's really providing some opportunities for not only just beginning farmers, but even established farmers that are looking to diversify a little bit, try something new. But we have been getting a lot of inquiries here recently about, what do the rules and regulations look like for shrimp farms, and what opportunities are there for myself to get into shrimp farming. So I think that's something that's really exciting, and I think is going to continue to grow in 2026 and beyond.
I'd love to continue on that tangent for just a moment because I've been very interested in that since I first learned of aquaculture and some of what that entails, especially considering Iowa has such immediate access to some of the grain that could be used. And I know there have been a couple places that haven't been able to find success yet, whether it's because, there's not enough processors around to really help things along, or for whatever other reason, it's too cold during winter to keep up heating costs. But what does shrimp farming look like in Iowa? I'd love to learn more about that.
Yeah, so we do have several individuals that are. It's kind of like a you pick produce garden, where you would visit the farm and tell them how many pounds of shrimp you want, and right in front of you they will net them out and put them on ice, and you take them home and away you go. But then we're also working with another individual here in Iowa that is doing some offering some contracts for raising shrimp, and then he's coming around collecting them and getting them harvested, and then taken to a retailer where you can go in select grocery stores right now in the state of Iowa and buy Iowa raised shrimp. So this is continuing to evolve. And you already mentioned the processor side of it. I think we're on the cusp maybe of getting a processor, and once we do that, then we've got the processing, the marketing, and then maybe we even take a step back and can work with a local co-op to start making the feed right here in the state of Iowa. Because like you mentioned, we've got the possibilities. We know soybean meal is a big component of fish and shrimp feed, as well as DDGs from corn. So we've got an abundance of that right here. So why not make this a closed loop circuit right here in the state of Iowa?
I've thought for years that if we can have the number one egg producing state in the nation, there's no other reason we should not be able to have the number one aquaculture, whether it's shrimp or some other aspect. I feel like the possibility is very here.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel very optimistic that we are going to really put Iowa on the map in the coming years, and not only with shrimp, but I'm hearing great things out of the dairy industry. I think Iowa could see, the dairy industry grow substantially in the next several years, as well as poultry. You mentioned eggs, but I see some opportunity for the broiler industry, especially in Western Iowa, to really get a good foothold and start taking off. And that's what the coalition's all about is finding opportunities and connecting farmers, whether they're beginning farmers or established farmers looking to grow and diversify, with those folks that can help them do that. So yeah, I'm pretty excited going into 26.
I think you are definitely on the right lead there. I know when I first started, Iowa was number 11 in turkey production, and I think that's crawled up a few places. It's now number 8, I believe, maybe 7 even. And so there's definitely a lot of opportunity here in the state. And I think back, and I appreciate you bringing that up because I think back to what you were talking about seeing the cycle kind of continue as you work with folks on the farm, and that's very important to you in terms of seeing that lasting impact. Uh, but also, I know you guys are working on some legacy projects that are involved with the coalition. Could you talk some about that as well?
Yeah, we're really excited about 11 months ago, we launched our new Building Your Livestock Legacy program. And that program is designed to help beginning farmers get the resources, mostly financial resources that they need to get started in livestock farming. But also, the second component of that is working with established farmers that don't have heirs wanting to come back and take over the farm. So, what we're trying to do is find that young person or beginning farmer or beginning farmer couple that are maybe limited on resources but are long on physical labor and passion and desire to get into livestock farming, and trying to connect those two up, because at the end of the day, the coalition, we want to see livestock and poultry production continue to evolve and grow in the state of Iowa. And this program, we've got as young as 14 years old in the program, all the way up to 70. So there's a lot of opportunity and a lot of interest in livestock today, and I think that program is really showing it. And it's for cattle and hogs and chickens and turkeys and shrimp, sheep, goats. It's all encompassing for all livestock and poultry species. And I think right now we're sitting at about 180 people that are in the program, and it's all done through Google Classroom. And so you can learn at your own speed. There's 24 videos to watch. 3 to 5 questions where there's a quiz at the end of each video. So you can knock it out in probably 4 hours. But if you're busy and it takes you 6 months or 8 months, that's fine too. And then when you get all through the program, we'll send you a certificate saying that you passed. And then the goal would be take that to your lender, take that to the landlord or prospective landlord down the road, and show them that you're really committed to getting into livestock production.
That is really incredible to think about getting into production, especially if you don't have the backing of a family, of your own family. So have you is this just starting, or have you had any folks go through this already?
Yeah, we just sent out our first 12 certificates mid-November. So we are starting to see the completion of the course, and they're starting to, request those certificates, and we're happy to send those out, because I think that this is a program that's got many experts, from Farm Credit Services of America to private lenders, to USDA staff, the beginning farmer loan people, FSA. I mean, it's the best of the best. And if you've got questions about particular areas that you need help with on your farm, or trying to get started on your farm, that's a one-stop shop for all livestock resources.
Is this geared more towards a smaller or medium-sized farm, or is this also allow folks to engage with larger operations and be a part of those?
Yeah, it's geared for any size of operation. For instance, as we try to connect some of these established farmers with beginning farmers, we've got a cow-calf farmer that's got about, I think, 90 head of cows that's looking for someone to work in. I've got a hog producer that's got 4 hog barns that he's looking to work someone in. So it's all sizes, shapes, and species of livestock. And again, I think at the end of the day, if we can make some of these connections and keep the established farmers' legacy going, and that beginning farmers' legacy starting, I think we're finding our niche in doing that.
All right, Brian. So we just spoke about the Building Livestock Legacy Program. We also spoke about the Good Farm Neighbor Award. Are there any other programs to think about that folks can get involved in or should get involved in as farmers or as neighbors of farmers as we move into 2026? You just like folks to know about?
Yeah, we've got another program, the Green Farmstead Partner Program. We've got 25 nurseries that participate with us, and all that program's about is installing windbreaks around new livestock barns and open feedlots. Trees and windbreaks have so many tangible benefits. Like, the last couple weekends, if you had a nice windbreak to slow that wind down, deposit the snow where it should go, where you don't have to spend hours in a skid loader moving snow. Also, with those nasty winter winds, if you can plant those trees on the north and west sides of your buildings, you're going to save on LP costs, going to save wear and tear on your exhaust fans and so on. So trees are very valuable on the farm. And we started that program, the Green Farmstead Partner Program, in 2009. And in the last 16 years, we planted more than 82,000 trees and shrubs on farms all across the state of Iowa.
Wow. Brian, as the executive director of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers, as we head out, is there anything you're really looking forward to in the new year as kind of just a closing comment, or maybe something you're really grateful for of 2025?
I think in 2025, what I'm most grateful for is all of the livestock farmers that I got to work with. 25 was a great year for us. We had not seen these kind of numbers as far as farmers calling us or us getting out on farms since pre-COVID. You got to go back to 2018 to see these kinds of numbers. And what makes it so exciting to me and makes me optimistic is these calls just keep rolling in. More farm visits, more phone calls this in 2025 than we've had in the last 5+ years. So I think that speaks volumes for the state of the livestock and poultry industry here in the state of Iowa. And hopefully we can keep that momentum going in 26 and beyond.
Brian Waddingham is the executive director of the Coalition to Support Iowa's Farmers. Thank you so much, Brian, for joining us on Farm Your Daily.
Oh, thank you, David. Appreciate it.
This is Farm Your Daily, a Field Forward podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Again, in order to continue to produce this type of local content, we would love to have you join our community, so please follow the podcast as well as our social media channels at Field Forward Pod. You can also find me on social media at Geiger Reports. Again, I am your host, David Geiger, and I'll be back again tomorrow, everybody.